There are drivers who win races, and then there are drivers who define eras. Kyle Busch was one of those men. And this weekend, as NASCAR returns to Nashville Superspeedway for a triple header that should have had his number on the entry list, the silence where his name belongs is louder than any engine you'll ever hear. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation News is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. Kyle Busch was supposed to be at Nashville this weekend. He had every reason to be there. This track was his track in so many ways. But last week, what began as pneumonia progressed into something far more serious, sepsis, and on Thursday, at just 41 years old, we lost him. I want you to let that sink in for a second. 41 years old, and he had already accomplished more in a single career than most drivers could dream of across 3 lifetimes. Here's the thing, Kyle Busch's history with Nashville Superspeedway didn't start with a trophy or a celebration. It started with a fight just to get on the track. Back in 2003, NASCAR had put in a minimum age rule. You had to be 18 to compete. Kyle was already racing trucks at 16, tearing up the competition. And the sanctioning body essentially said, not here, not yet. So what did Rick Hendrick do? He put Busch in an arcade car. And at 18 years old, Kyle Busch drove to his very first win in the PFG Lester 150 at Nashville. Right there on that track, that was the beginning. And stick with me because it only gets more remarkable from there. Now, the road to Nashville glory was not a smooth one, not even close. In 2004, Kyle was right there in contention in a Busch Series race, what we now know as the Xfinity Series, and today the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Last lap, backstretch, a 4-car smash-up takes out the leaders, hands the win to Michael Waltrip, and Busch walks away empty-handed. But when he finally did return to victory lane in 2009, that moment is forever burned into NASCAR history, for the wrong reasons and the right ones. He smashed the Sam Bass-designed guitar. Smashed it. Right there on the stage, with Sam Bass himself watching. Kyle admitted later he regretted it, and he should have. Sam Bass was an icon of the sport, and that moment was uncomfortable for a lot of people. But you know what? It was Kyle Busch through and through. Raw, unfiltered, not calculating how the optics would land. Love him or hate him, that was always his brand. And it made this sport more interesting every single time he strapped in. Let's talk about the footprint this man left on Nashville specifically, because it is staggering. 5 wins across 3 different series. Only Carl Edwards, another all-time great, has more at that track with 6. But here's what people forget. During the mid-2000s, Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards were doing something that drove the Busch Series regulars absolutely crazy. They were double dipping. Cup Series race on Saturday, Busch Series race on Sunday, sometimes at different tracks on the same weekend. These Cup guys were parachuting in, gobbling up wins, and leaving the series regulars with nothing to show for it. They called them the Buschwackers. And the outrage from the full-time Xfinity drivers was real, it was loud, and it forced NASCAR's hand. The series introduced rules restricting Cup regulars to just 5 Xfinity starts per season, a number that has since been raised and made them ineligible for points. Kyle Busch inspired a rule change in professional motorsport. That's how big of an impact this man had. When Nashville went dark for a decade, Kyle was one of the handful of veterans who remembered what the place felt like in its first incarnation. And when the gates reopened in 2021, he showed up and did what Kyle Busch always did. He won. Not just any win either. His victory in the Xfinity Series race at Nashville's reopening was his 100th career win in that series. 100 in a single series, and even with the restrictions limiting his starts in recent years, he kept showing up and he kept delivering. His last Truck Series start was at Dover on May 15th. He won that race, he took the checkered flag, and 6 days later, he was gone. I'm just gonna say it straight. We are not gonna see another career like Kyle Busch's. The records, the wins, the controversies, the passion, the relentlessness, it all added up to something this sport will be searching for, a replacement to, for decades. He won the last race he drove. Let that be the final image. Not the illness, not the hospital, not the grief, although all of that is real and all of it matters. Let the final image be Kyle Busch, number 18 or 51 or whatever door panel he was under, crossing the line first, because that is who he was. That is who he will always be. Nashville Superspeedway this weekend will carry a weight that no race program can fully capture. 5 wins, 100 milestones, a rule change bearing his fingerprints, a smashed guitar, and a legacy that is absolutely permanent. Rest easy, Rowdy. Now, here is the question I want you to answer in the comments right now, and I want you to be honest. When you think of Kyle Busch's Nashville legacy, what stands out most to you? The 100th Xfinity win, the guitar smash, the Buschwacker era, or simply the fact that he won his very last race? And do you think NASCAR will ever retire a number in his honor? Drop your take down below. This conversation matters. If this video meant something to you, hit that like button. It genuinely helps us grow this channel. Subscribe to NASCAR Nation News for real talk, real passion, real fans. We are building something special here, and we want you in it. We'll see you in the next one.